DJ, you go crazy.
So they put crack cocaine in our community. They put sexually transmitted diseases in our community.
Yes, which we even had before that because they started giving us STDs during slavery. Because remember, according to their scientists, many of the STDs that black people got were foreign to us in Africa. Gonorrhea, chlamydia was unknown on the African continent. Those are European diseases. And how did we get them? Because they raped our mothers, raped our fathers, raped our daughters. You see, remember now, during slavery, it was very common to catch a slave master 40, 50 years old in the bed with a 7-year-old black girl raping her. Oh, pedophilia and slavery went hand in hand. And that's why there's a movement in America right now to legalize pedophilia. The age of sexual consent is 16. They want to take it down to 14. Some people want to take it down to 12. And there was just a body from the United Nations that came out with a statement a couple months ago. I read it when I was speaking in Barbados this past spring, that they said people should not be charged with a crime for having sex with minors if the minors give their consent. Can I ask you a question? How can my 12-year-old daughter give her consent to have sex with a 40-year-old man? You see that? How can your 8-year-old son consent to having gay sex with a 50, 60-year-old man? The reason why the pedophile movement is trying to normalize sex with children is many of the world's leading pedophiles are multi-billionaires who can't afford to go to jail. This is why Epstein had to be murdered. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't the only one. He's just one of the organizers. You understand? Bill Clinton was on that plane with Epstein. Donald Trump was on that plane with Epstein. Hillary was on that plane with Epstein. I think Bill Gates was on that plane with Epstein. You know why Epstein was murdered? They said it was a suicide. They killed him. He said, I'm not going down by myself. When he said that, they had to kill him because he would have started naming names. I believe Barack and Michelle was on the Epstein plane. You feel me? So pedophilia is not about one person. It's about a movement. And unfortunately, they used R. Kelly as a scapegoat to deflect from the white-owned, white-controlled, white-led, white-financed pedophile movement. Don't get me wrong. If R. Kelly is having sex with underage children, he should be held accountable for that. But that's not why R. Kelly went to jail. R. Kelly went to jail because a certain music company was stealing R. Kelly's music, didn't want to pay for it, so they had to bankrupt him through lawyer fees by charging him with the sexual exploitation of the children. Same thing with Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby didn't go to jail for harassing white women. Bill Cosby went to jail because him and Camille Cosby owned a home in Massachusetts that got oil underneath of it, and the second richest oil company in the world wanted to drill under the home, and Bill Cosby and Camille organized their neighbors to resist the oil company drilling. Right after that, all these ugly white women come up from 40 years ago, talk about Bill Cosby molested me back in the 1970s and the 1980s. What white women you know get sexually harassed by the #1 television star at the time? Remember, Bill Cosby opened the door for Richard Pryor. There would have been no Richard Pryor without Bill Cosby from North Philly. And Richard Pryor is the greatest comedian of all time, by the way. But Bill Cosby opened the door for him. He's the #1 black man on TV, the first black actor to get his own series on nationwide TV, and you don't call the police on him. You don't tell a soul. You wait 40 years until you old and nasty looking and say this man harassed you. Bull crap. They got them women together to do that in order to bankrupt him so he could sell that house and the oil company could get their drilling. None of these people are going to jail for that. Michael Jackson, when he got accused of the pedophilia, and by the way, the white boy he allegedly molested, he was on Vlad. He said his parents made it up. He just recently did the white boy who Michael Jackson allegedly assaulted. What he got to lie for? Ain't no money in it. He said, my mother and father made that up and made me do it for money. He said it. So why did they come out against Michael Jackson with the false pedophile accusations? Because Michael Jackson was about to buy Marvel Comics. You didn't hear what I just said. Michael Jackson, who already owns the Beatles catalog, half of Elvis catalog, half of Sony Records, is about to buy Marvel Comics. You think Wakanda was something? Imagine if that was Michael Jackson on Wakanda. It would have been off the hook. So they hit Mike with the pedophile rumors to force him out of the bidding because, as you know, Marvel Comics, that's children. So if you're having sex with kids, you ain't got no business bidding on children's magazines. That was the propaganda to sabotage Mike from getting Marvel Comics. It's never what you see. It's never what you see. They murdered Whitney Houston because Whitney Houston was going to order an audit on her royalties, an audit on her publishing. Oh, yes. And Whitney Houston wanted her masters back. You think he was going to give her masters back? So you die in the same hotel that the owner of your record label is having a pre-Grammys party and he don't cancel the party? This is your number one selling artist of all time. Whitney Houston was the number one selling artist of all time, female, until Mariah passed her. But guess what? Whitney Houston is still the only black artist in history to be certified diamond 3 times. Not even Michael Jackson was certified diamond 3 times. I Will Always Love You is the number one selling female song in history. Whitney's version, not the original. And you broke? Oh, Whitney said, I can't possibly be broke. We got to look at my royalties, open up the books. Somebody couldn't allow that to happen. And that's why he had her killed before her pre-Grammys party and still had the party. Because that was a ritual sacrifice for going against the white power structure. That's the Hollywood Hilton. You don't think it's cameras on every floor? You don't think it's cameras on every floor in the Hollywood Hilton? Right. Why the hell we ain't see the footage of who went in Whitney's room? It's on the damn camera. It's on the camera. They're not going to show you that because the white power structure killed Whitney. And that's why none of these rappers don't speak up about nothing serious going on in the black community, because they know how the game works. You go against the power structure, we will get you involved in a ritualistic sacrifice. White supremacy and demonology go hand in hand. And that's why they need these children to sex them and molest them, because you do know the vampire metaphor is very real in European high-class culture. They believe sex with children helps you live longer. Let me say that again. This is the vampire metaphor. In the vampire, the movies, what they do, they drink your blood. Okay? They do that too. But it is the young blood of the child, untouched, that will give you longer life. This is why they need so many children. This is why we got all these black girls going missing. Who is most likely to be sexually abducted in America? Black girl, 12 to 17. Black girl, 12 to 17. And right after them is the boys. They need the boys for the sodomy rituals. They need virgin black prepubescent boys for the sodomy rituals. And then they need the black girls for the rituals as well. And then after that, they kill them. And in many cases, they drink their brain fluid because they believe that the brain fluid of virgin children, when digested, gives you longer spiritual life.
And we learned something today.
The child sex ring is beyond some sick Negro on the street kidnapping people, kids. This is government-backed, government-sponsored, government-created. The foster homes are in it. The judges are in it. All the Department of Youth and Family Services are in it. Why do you think a certain number of black kids get taken from their families every year? Why do you think a certain number of black kids get abducted every year? If you got random abductions, there's no way it's the same amount every year. You feel me? That's systemic. Somebody is systematically making sure this many black kids get abducted, this many black kids get sexually trafficked. Because you got rich white males at the top of this who need our children at the bottom because they believe raping those innocent black babies will give them longer life on this planet.
Yeah, it was a report in Cleveland, Ohio, a couple months ago about like
all the children missing it.
Yeah,
Cleveland is a test site. Atlanta, remember the Atlanta child murders? Atlanta is a test site. I think Chicago is a organ trafficking site, and I also think that you guys are a homicide site. Nobody's going to convince me that all these black men being murdered are being murdered simply over gang warfare and black on black hate. You feel me? I believe that there are people dressing up as African people, white folks who they're bringing in. It's going to come out just like the Purge movie. Just like the Purge movie. They're bringing in white ex-military cutouts to assassinate black people on the streets of Chicago to reduce the numbers. You mean to tell me you got cameras all over Chicago? Cameras everywhere. And you don't know who killed them? The camera didn't catch the license plate on the car? You have no physical description? Why do you have no leads on all these murders when half of Chicago is a damn surveillance police state? Because the government is killing us off. Mm-hmm. Do you realize black male organs, black female organs are some of the most prized organs in the world because we're the original people. So our organs damn near work with everybody. What is the one thing you need to live that you can't buy? Heart, kidney, liver, spleen. So since everybody been brainwashed to think that black Chicago is just self-destruction from the inside, why don't we encourage the effort? Send our own ex-military cutouts there overnight, 2 a.m. to 5 a.m., and kill as many black people as they can. We got all the organs we need. Nobody going to do no research. Nobody going to investigate. They're just going to think it's another gang killing. Do you see what I'm saying? It's easy to take a life in Chicago because they brainwashed the whole world into thinking it ain't nothing but drugs and guns and gangs. No, it's not. The government is killing these brothers and sisters in Chicago. You got a heart, and it just so happened your heart is the only heart that matched that rich white man in the suburbs of Illinois. And all he needs to do is pay somebody $1 million to take you out and bring that heart. And the next thing you know, we reading about how you got jacked at the gas station, filling up your car, getting you a bottle of orange juice, and they came out and robbed you, and you ain't want to give them the money, so you fought back and they killed you. That's a damn lie. That was an orchestrated hit for organs. It's happening all over America.
DJ, you go crazy.